Dive into the depths of history, where mysteries intertwine and truths blur. As we embark on this journey, we find ourselves traversing the sands of time, exploring the ancient world and its profound mysteries, a world where gods walked among humans, and divine tales were as real as the sun that rises each morning. One such tale is of Horus, the sky god of ancient Egypt, with the sun and moon as his eyes. In the pantheon of Egyptian deities, Horus stands supreme, an embodiment of power and protection. His myth, etched in hieroglyphs, tells a story of birth, death, and resurrection, a narrative that resonates through the corridors of time. Now, fast forward a few centuries to a carpenter born in Bethlehem, a man who would become the cornerstone of Christianity. This is Jesus, a figure celebrated and revered by billions. His life, his teachings, and his sacrifice form the bedrock of one of the world's most widespread religions, a story of a divine birth, a life of miracles, and a death that paved the way for resurrection. As we delve deeper, we start to see glimmers of similarity between these two figures, born millennia and miles apart. Their stories, while rooted in different cultures and times, seem to echo each other in intriguing ways. Is it mere coincidence? Or is there a deeper, more mysterious connection that ties these two narratives together? The sun, a symbol of life and power, plays a vital role in both these tales. The zodiac, a celestial roadmap, seems to hint at their intertwined destinies, and the equinox, a time of balance and renewal, seems to resonate with their stories of death and resurrection. So, what does it all mean? Are these similarities mere coincidences, or do they hint at a shared undercurrent, a common understanding of the divine that transcends cultures and eras? As we journey back in time, prepare to uncover the hidden connections between Horus and Jesus. Let's unravel the threads of this ancient tapestry and see what secrets it holds. The mysteries of the past await us, beckoning us into a world where gods and men walk side by side. Horus, the falcon-headed deity, soars above ancient Egypt, his story etched in hieroglyphs. This divine figure, with the body of a man and the head of a falcon, is a significant character in the mythology of ancient Egypt. Born to the goddess Isis after the death of his father Osiris, Horus is a symbol of rebirth and renewal. His life story is a dramatic one, filled with conflict, resolution, and ultimately triumph. As a newborn, he was hidden by his mother in the marshes of the Nile to protect him from his uncle Set, who had murdered his father and sought to usurp the throne. Growing up in secret, Horus was tutored by the gods themselves, gaining wisdom and strength. When he came of age, he challenged his uncle Set, fought a series of epic battles, and finally emerged victorious. He avenged his father's death, reclaimed the throne, and restored order and justice to Egypt. Horus is not just a tale of heroism and revenge. He is deeply woven into the religious fabric of ancient Egypt. As the god of the sky, he is associated with the sun and the moon. His right eye is the sun, representing power and illumination, while his left eye is the moon, symbolizing healing and regeneration. Moreover, Horus is also seen as a god of kingship. The living pharaohs of Egypt were considered his earthly embodiment, adding a layer of political significance to his myth. Yet the story of Horus goes beyond the boundaries of Egypt. His tale has found echoes in other cultures and religions, leading to fascinating parallels and connections, some of which we will explore in later scenes. An intriguing figure, Horus holds more secrets than one might imagine. This falcon-headed deity, whose eyes gaze upon the sun and the moon, is not just an ancient god, but a symbol of eternal themes: the cyclical nature of life, the struggle between good and evil, and the aspiration towards a just and orderly world. Fast forward to a different time, a different place. Enter Jesus, a man whose life would change the course of history. Stepping into a world ruled by the strong and the mighty, Jesus was born under humble circumstances in Bethlehem, a small town in the Roman-ruled region of Judea. His birth is a tale of miracles and divine intervention, celebrated till this day as a symbol of hope and joy. As he grew, Jesus emerged not as a king or a warrior, but as a teacher, a healer, a beacon of light in a world shrouded in darkness. His teachings were simple, yet profound. He preached love, compassion, forgiveness, and the power of faith. He urged his followers to love their neighbors as they loved themselves, to turn the other cheek when wronged, and to seek the kingdom of God above all else. However, his revolutionary ideas and growing influence were not welcomed by all. The religious and political leaders of the time saw him as a threat, and so they plotted against him, leading to his crucifixion, a painful and public form of execution. But even in his final moments, Jesus chose love over hate, forgiveness over vengeance, setting an example that continues to inspire millions across the globe. But his story doesn't end there. 3 days later, the tomb where Jesus was laid was found empty. He had risen, overcoming death itself. This resurrection, this triumph over mortality, is seen as the ultimate proof of his divinity and forms the cornerstone of Christian faith. From a humble birth to a life of profound teachings, a cruel death, and a miraculous resurrection, Jesus' journey is a testament to the power of faith and love. His life, his teachings, his sacrifice, and his resurrection are remembered, retold, and revered, shaping the lives of billions around the world. A figure revered by many, Jesus' story resonates throughout the ages. Born of a virgin, under a star, the births of both Horus and Jesus, strikingly similar. Picture this: 2 stories separated by thousands of years, yet woven together by strikingly similar threads. On one hand, we have Horus, the ancient Egyptian deity, son of Osiris and Isis, born of a virgin. On the other hand, we have Jesus Christ, born to the Virgin Mary in a humble manger. In both narratives, the virgin birth is a central theme. Isis, Horus's mother, was considered a virgin in her mythology, just as Mary was in Christian theology. Their miraculous conceptions set the stage for the extraordinary lives they would lead, and the impact they would have on their respective societies. Now consider the guiding star. In the tale of Horus, the star Sirius, known as Sothis in ancient Egypt, played a significant role. It was believed to have heralded the annual inundation of the Nile, a vital event in the Egyptian calendar, and was also associated with the birth of Horus. Fast forward to the story of Jesus, and we see a similar celestial sign. The Star of Bethlehem, as it's referred to in the Gospel of Matthew, guided the 3 wise men to the newborn Jesus. Speaking of the wise men, here's another parallel. In the story of Horus, 3 deities, Isis, Thoth, and Anubis, played key roles in his birth and early life. They offered gifts of knowledge and protection, much like the 3 wise men in the Christian narrative, who brought gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh to the infant Jesus. As we delve deeper into these stories, the parallels become more intriguing. The similarities in their births are just the beginning of the connections between Horus and Jesus. Could these similarities be mere coincidences, or do they suggest a shared origin, a common thread running through the spiritual traditions of ancient Egypt and early Christianity? Coincidence, or could there be a hidden connection? The quest to unravel these mysteries continues. Stay with us as we explore further in the next scenes. Miracles, teachings, disciples. The lives of Horus and Jesus run in remarkable parallel. As we delve deeper into the lives of these two iconic figures, we find striking similarities in their miracles and teachings. Both Horus and Jesus were known for their miraculous deeds. Horus was said to have restored his mother Isis from the dead, a feat that echoes the resurrection miracles performed by Jesus in the New Testament. Moreover, Horus was known as the avenger of wrongs, a protector, and a healer, much like Jesus, who was renowned for his acts of healing the sick and giving sight to the blind. The parallels here are too compelling to ignore. The teachings of Horus and Jesus also share a common thread. Both preached messages of love, compassion, and forgiveness. In the ancient Egyptian texts, Horus is credited with imparting wisdom about the importance of balance, harmony, and unity, principles that are also echoed in the teachings of Jesus. In fact, Jesus' commandment to love your neighbor as yourself mirrors the essence of Horus's teachings about unity and love. What's more, the concept of discipleship is a shared aspect of both their lives. Horus had his followers, the Horus sons, while Jesus had his 12 apostles. Both sets of disciples were devoted to their leader's cause and played a significant role in carrying forward their teachings. And then there's the intriguing aspect of their symbolic representation. Horus, often depicted with the sun disk above his head, was associated with light and enlightenment. Similarly, Jesus is often referred to as the light of the world. Two figures, miles and millennia apart, yet astonishingly alike. The parallels between Horus and Jesus extend beyond their birth stories, permeating their lives and teachings. These similarities, whether coincidental or not, provide a fascinating perspective on these two influential figures, separated by geography and time, yet bound together by striking resemblances in their lives and teachings. Look up to the heavens. The sun, the zodiac, the equinox, all play their part in our tale. Let's delve into the astrological connections between these two deities. There's a fascinating interplay of cosmic elements in both their narratives, and it's clear that the sun and zodiac hold significant roles. In ancient Egyptian mythology, Horus is often associated with the sun. He's seen as the sky god, with the sun and moon as his eyes, illuminating the world. The sun, a symbol of light and life, is a fitting association for Horus, who was a god of protection. Now, let's shift our focus to Jesus. In Christian symbolism, Jesus is often referred to as the Son of God, or light of the world, a beacon of hope and salvation. This correlation with light has been interpreted by some as a parallel to the sun, the literal light of our world. Likewise, the zodiac plays a part in this tale. The 12 signs of the zodiac have been linked to the 12 disciples of Jesus, each representing different qualities and characteristics. It's a connection that lends a layer of astrological significance to the biblical narrative. For example, Peter, an impulsive and headstrong disciple, is often associated with the zodiac sign of Aries the ram. Horus, too, has his 12 followers. In ancient Egyptian mythology, These are the 12 gods who accompany him in his battle against darkness. Here again, we see a parallel between the zodiac and the divine narrative. The equinox, a time of balance between day and night, is another shared element. In the story of Horus, the equinoxes mark his battles against darkness, symbolizing the struggle between light and dark, good and evil. In Christianity, the equinox has been associated with the resurrection of Jesus, a time of rebirth and renewal. These celestial connections add a deeper layer of meaning to the stories of Horus and Jesus. They remind us that our ancient ancestors looked to the heavens for answers and saw the divine in the natural world. In the stars, we find yet another thread linking Horus and Jesus. What can we glean from these parallels? As we delve into the uncanny similarities between Horus and Jesus, we are beckoned into a world that transcends time and geography, inviting us to question, to probe, and to wonder. The parallels between these two figures, emanating from cultures as distinct as ancient Egypt and first century Palestine, may seem startling at first. However, they hint at a shared human experience, a collective narrative that transcends individual cultures and epochs. Could it be that these narratives, separated by thousands of years and miles, are echoes of a universal human story? One theory suggests that these striking similarities are not mere coincidences, but evidence of synchronicity. This theory posits that spiritual truths, regardless of the time or place of their origin, converge towards a universal core. Could it be that the stories of Horus and Jesus were both attempts to articulate this universal spiritual truth? Another compelling theory is that of shared mythology. This perspective argues that myths, legends, and religious narratives are not isolated phenomena, but part of a shared human heritage. They are stories passed down through generations, tales that morph and evolve, yet retain the essence of their original message. Could the stories of Horus and Jesus be different versions of the same tale, a tale as old as humanity itself? As we venture into these theories, we must acknowledge the complexity and richness of both the Egyptian and Christian traditions. To reduce these narratives to mere similarities would be an oversimplification. Each story, each character, each symbol carries its own unique flavor and significance within its cultural context. As we unravel these threads, the mystery deepens, inviting us to delve further. The exploration of these parallels between Horus and Jesus is not just an academic exercise. It is a journey into the heart of human history, a voyage into our shared past, and an invitation to understand the universal narratives that bind us all. Our journey doesn't end here. The mysteries of the past beckon us to explore further. The veil of time has long shrouded the intriguing connections between historical religious figures and celestial bodies, but we are about to pull it back. Imagine, if you will, the story of Buddha, whose teachings radiate like the sun, illuminating the path to enlightenment. Picture Muhammad, whose journey mirrors the moon's cycle, from the slender crescent to the full orb, symbolizing growth and fulfillment. Contemplate the life of Moses, etched in the shifting sands of time, as steadfast as the eternal stars in the night sky. These allegories, metaphors, and parallels between the earthly and the heavenly are not mere coincidences. They reflect the interconnectedness of all things, the cosmic dance of the universe. Join us next time as we continue to probe the enigmas of history And be sure to subscribe and hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. Thank you.